All right, part 2. I wrote Crocodile Dundee up there for number 8 while we were gone, and here we are reconvening. So we're moving on to number 7 of the worst 80s movies that are completely overrated and movies that you should feel they suck, and you probably don't. Number 7 is Scarface. Cicatriz, okay? Cicatriz en la cabeza. All right, Scarface, 1983. Al Pacino. This movie is, for some reason, revered in the world of criminality. People always want to think that they're Tony Montana, okay, a Cuban refugee that came over in the Maritil, whatever the boat thing was that brought all these people over to the country and all this. And to me, the only scene that's even remotely redeemable in this movie is the chainsaw scene in the hotel. I like the way it shoots. I like the way he follows it in there, and I like the way that they just cut him up with the chainsaw. That was a good scene. That was a good. The rest of the movie sucks. Okay, all right. I don't know what it is about Al Pacino. Why y'all want to be Al Pacino? Al Pacino is like 4'9". Okay, you got Napoleon, Stalin, Mussolini, Hirohito, all these short people that ran things, and Tony Montana's the same. You see his pen? This pen was a gift from Emperor Hirohito, impervious to everything but water. But that's from a different movie that didn't suck, that is not on this list. Anyway, my point is, man, you can't be running like Florida in a drug world like that, you know, being 4'9". Like, that just doesn't work, man. Like, somebody's gonna take advantage of you, right? Okay? Oh, I bet you all them people... what's the guy that tunneled out? El Chapo, he was probably like 5'1". Whatever, man. It's dumb that they would pick that as a leading man. Like, this is a Burt Reynolds movie, right? He would have played an awesome Cuban refugee. All right, so you got Robert Loggia playing the typical raspy voice asshole. You know, he's always got to talk like that. He's got the same part pretty much. He's just he's a drug kingpin version of himself in what's the Richard Gere, Officer and Gentleman, right? Michelle Pfeiffer, not a good pick. She's not attractive. We could have gone so many other directions. This is 1983. I think she had just done, what's the girl that was in Never Say Never Again? Kim Basinger. We could have picked her. She was newly on the scene, and we're picking Michelle Pfeiffer. And really, when you look at this movie, right? I mean, he's just a piece of crap. He's a loser. And yet, everybody follows him. People follow Pacino in this movie, in the dope game. You know, like, dude, you're selling weed like in a town of 42,000 people. You ain't Tony Montana. Yeah, that's just kind of dumb, and it's a stupid way to be. You know, it's a lot like using him as your reference for your end goal in life. Is like all those dorks in college that put a picture of Belushi wearing that college sweatshirt. Like, oh, how original! Wow. Oh, you like Scarface and you sell weed and a little bit of heroin. That's really intelligent. But really, this movie is it's Macbeth with cocaine. That's all it is. It's the same story, Macbeth with cocaine. Shakespeare is up there just like this, like, what are y'all doing to my stuff, man? Like, I left you with all this beautiful prose, and y'all have just ruined it with cocaine, okay? Then again, Shakespeare probably would have done cocaine if it had been around back then. But, you know, at the end, you know, like, did you notice how, like, when he falls into the pool after he gets shot in the back with, like, whatever, like, that railing, it just, like, breaks away so easy. Just, like, did they design that so that now one day, if I ever get in a shootout, I want to be able to easily just float down into the tank? It's kind of weird. The only thing that is even remotely weird about this, okay, is that there are, I don't even know if it's a rumor, I think it's happening, but the Coen brothers have written a sequel, follow-up, something, screenplay for a new Scarface, which they've been hinting at forever because of its mass popularity with all the idiots out there that think it's a good movie, and it's not. But I may have to rethink my love affair with the Coen brothers if it's not done well, because if it's based on the original, I just can't get into it. All right, number 6, On Golden Pond. No, man, come here, no, man. You're my knight in shining armor. It's it's a task listening to Katharine Hepburn for 2 hours, okay? Talk about anything, whatever. And these two goofballs won Best Actor and Best Actress, and it was nominated. It got beat by like Chariots of Fire for Best Picture. It ain't none of those three, right? Like that dude, Fonda, right? Henry Fonda. He's in 12 Angry Men. One of the greatest movies, top 50 in anybody's list of all time, whatever, you know. And yet he couldn't win it for that as the holdout juror in that great film. But he wins it for On Golden Pond, probably because he died like 2 months later, right? They knew he was on his deathbed, and they're like, I just give the old bat one, right? I don't like the fact that when they roll up there, oh, the loons are talking to us. The loons ain't talking to nobody. The loons are like, these loony people are back at their stupid mountain house up in New England that they apparently come to every summer to take all the sheets off the couches and hang up. Do you know how long you would have to clean when you rolled up there in about late May? It would take you like a week and a half just to get that dust off of everything. I don't care if you put sheets on everything to begin with or not. And I don't like a loon, okay? Not a fan of a loon. Too much thinks it's a duck. It's not cool, okay? Screw a loon, all right? So the loons can... When I was growing up, we had HBO. And HBO played this movie. Like you could play a game. You could have played a drinking game and probably gotten pretty drunk off of it. If just flip random times throughout the day, flip on to Channel 7 and see if On Golden Pond's on HBO. And throughout the 80s, it more than likely was. It's kind of like what Roadhouse is to late night TV. After like 10 o'clock at night on TBS TNT, one of the movies or one of them shows. And also Shawshank. You go on a Saturday afternoon, Shawshank's on like 4 channels somewhere. It's crazy. But that's what On Golden Pond was. So I went back and watched this movie. I was like, man, I've seen pieces of this. I've seen where he falls in the water and then Billy saves him and all this crap. Let me actually do this thing some justice and find out, what the big deal is about it. And so I watched it on like free YouTube movies or Amazon Prime. I don't know what I watched. I know I didn't pay for it. I know that much. But I watched it one night at like 3 a.m, probably about 6 months ago. And I'm like, what is the premise of this movie? This movie is basically Jane Fonda trying to make up with her daddy because she bought the rights to the film and then tried to get him to put in. They wanted James Stewart. He's like, no, I don't want to be in a movie about a pond. And that's more of a lake than a pond, really. I mean, that's pretty big body of water. That's not pond material. That is a lake. Loons live in a lake, not a pond. Those are ducks on a pond, okay? But James Stewart turns it down, and Jane's like, oh, let me get my daddy because he's been a horrible father, and I've been a horrible daughter, and we're so estranged, and maybe we can find love. And, oh, gosh, he's dead. I'm glad we did this. And it's just, the whole thing's just dumb. The premise is stupid and everything else, Old couple in New England. Nobody cares about white people up in New England that have the means to have like a house like that. And then they got like a Chris Craft boat that's like, that thing could be worth $400,000. Those things are not cheap. They're like made out of like mahogany or teak or some crap, That was a nice boat. And then he lets Billy drive it into the rocks, I think, if I recall. Somebody wrecked it into the rocks and all this crap. The dude, it's just a bad decision all the way around. And then like the daughter is dating Dabney Coleman, who's probably like 40 years older than her. He's probably the same age as Fonda and Hepburn. And he's dating the girl, and then she's got her son from some other dude that she shacked up with over the years. And they're like, hey, would it be cool if Billy stays here for a few weeks so we can go to Europe? We're leaving for Europe tomorrow. I'm like, what kind of port? You came from California to New England with a boy what if we just said no? What if we said no? We've got all the loons we can handle. We're not keeping Billy here for the next couple weeks while y'all can jet set and gallivant across Eastern Europe. No, we're not doing that. But that's what they did. That's a weird plan, to cross the country and then assume that your parents are going to take care of Billy, little Billy, who was pretty much in nothing else after that. But, and don't be fooled because Ethel, okay, Hepburn, she's had sex with Charlie, that boating mailman guy. They're too close for comfort. And here's the thing. Fonda has got so much dementia and Alzheimer's crap going on. He don't know nothing about it. They probably did it in the movie. They just didn't show it. It's probably a deleted scene in like the Criterion collection and all. But her and Charlie, they've shacked up. You can just tell with the way they talk and whatnot. So that's On Golden Pond, another movie that everybody for some reason thinks is just a gem of a film. All right. We're almost halfway through. Well, I guess we are halfway through. We're moving on now to the Blues Brothers. Whoops. I spoke too soon. No, we're moving on to the Blues Brothers. So, 1980. First of all, ain't no blues in this movie other than like a Robert Johnson song and then Boom 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 by the late, what's that guy's name? I can see him. Boom 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 Boom. I got Samuel in my head. I can't remember his name. But anyway, everything's like jazz and scat and soul, and it's not, I don't know why they're called the Blues Brothers, but really weird premise. I mean, and I didn't like the Saturday Night Live thing either. I mean, when they'd come out there and do their little dance and kick their feet, and all, it just wasn't my thing. I didn't care for that. I don't know why that was supposed to be funny. And I'm not a huge Dan Aykroyd fan either. You know, he replaced Carl Spackler in Caddyshack 2 in that food truck thing. That was it for me. But at any rate, two dudes, one gets out of jail, others living in a flop house, and the orphanage that has brought them up owes $5,000 in property tax. They're going to put the band back together to make the money up to make sure that the orphanage doesn't go under. Okay. Wouldn't that be a church? Do churches pay property taxes? I know they don't pay income tax. I don't know how that works. But anyway, in 2020, the Library of Congress deemed that this movie was culturally significant. And I think that's the problem with these lists. Is they're culturally significant, yeah, because when they came out, yeah, it was pretty avant-garde, or okay, I could watch it once or twice and all. But as time goes on, you need to go back and watch this stuff and be like, yeah, that sucked. What was that? Was I dumb back then? Like, why have I've really gotten a lot smarter over the years, because this is a stupid movie and I can't believe I used to love this. So I don't like culturally significant, although I think it explains a lot, because it doesn't say it's a great movie. It just says it's culturally significant. I don't know why this one is actually culturally significant. They just wrecked a bunch of cars, and it's like a bunch of vignettes that are just kind of strung together that I don't know. But at any rate, you know, I don't like the fact that John Landis went from Animal House to this. That's a downward spiral. That's not going up. Okay, our trajectory for our career should be going upward, not downward, and that's what this is, because it's not good. And let me tell you, I want to douse myself in glycerin jelly, okay, and drive myself into like a firework manufacturing plant when I hear Cab Calloway. Minnie the Moocher, I don't care what song he sings, I can't stand that. And the way he, like, you know, it's him and Ian Anderson should get together and like form a band. Well, he's dead now, but maybe his brother or his son or something, but I can't stand that like Cab Calloway crap. It's just not funny. There's two things in this movie that are even remotely funny, okay? And that is the country bunker scene where we're good old boys, you know. I like to write the check on the dash. You know, that's a pretty good scene, okay? That's not bad. Donald Duck done. We turn the goat piss into gasoline, you know. There's a couple funny little parts in that part, but not like knee slapping, hardy har, let me wet myself, I need Depends to watch this movie. It's not like that, right? And then the other thing is, I like the line when John Candy, who, again, gone too soon, brilliant. I like when he's like, orange whip, 3 orange whips. You know, I like that line. I think that's funny, because an orange whip, like, I've always wanted to order an orange whip, but I always forget that that's an option, because who does that? Like, you know, it's like ordering a grasshopper or something. But at any rate, not a lot of blues in this blues movie, just mostly jazz and soul. I'm not an Aretha Franklin song person. I don't like her. I don't like the fact that she's the queen of soul. I mean, dang, Harry Belafonte is apparently the king of calypso. So, I mean, we could all have monikers that mean nothing. I mean, that don't mean nothing. Who else is challenging her for it, right? There's other people that are better than Aretha. And so I'm not a fan. But yeah, so I think that the Blues Brothers is just, it doesn't hold up, you know. Even the car scenes, it's just a bunch of Dodge Monicos running into each other and ruining 440 blocks that could have been used for better purposes. But, you know, what are you going to do? The next one, we're going to go to Flashdance. Along with On Golden Pond numero 6, Flashdance was also on repeat. When On Golden Pond wasn't playing, HBO played Flashdance. And when Flashdance wasn't playing, they went back and reverted to On Golden Pond. It was just Irene Cara fest in the 80s for that crazy movie, okay? And there's a lot of problems with it. I don't think it was supposed to be a hit. And I think that the soundtrack and that like iconic poster of her with like her, you know, she's sitting there with like her whatever, what do you call it? Sweatshirt, like cut open and all. I think between that poster and probably the trailer of her dancing, her ass and dancing and whatnot, and the soundtrack being what it was, probably catapulted the movie into a stratosphere that it shouldn't have been in, but that's how things happen. But not a huge fan of it. And what the hell is a flash dance? Is that like a flash mob? Like you just all in the, whatever, and things just bubble up and they just turn into a flat, like, oh, what a feeling. I guess I don't dance, so I guess maybe that's why I don't understand what dancing does to you. But nevertheless, I do find it interesting that she's dating this dude and he wants to be a stand-up comedian. He goes out west to find his roots and sow his oats and whatever he does. And then she starts dating this dude because she's a welder. She's an 18-year-old welder. She looks a little older than that, but nevertheless, she's an 18-year-old welder. And she starts dating Nick, the guy that like runs the steel mill. And later on in the movie, I love the fact that, because this is when I went back with On Golden Pond, I said, man, I have got to watch Flashdance. Like I've seen parts of it. I've never seen the whole stupid movie. Another 3 a.m. bad choice, but that's what we do sometimes as adults. But I find it amusing that Nick, when she's like, I will apply at the conservatory and try to be a dancer for what was it called? The Art Council. I'd like to dance for the Art Council. And so what does Nick do? He finds out about it and he pulls some strings with the Art Council. What the heck? What does a Pittsburgh, Allentown looking like steel mill supervisor, how does he have ties to the Art Council, the conservatory? It just makes no sense, right? But that's how they wrote it in, and they fall in love and everything's good and whatnot. At the beginning, she's using this like 1932 welding helmet. She's stick welding some pipe and all this, and then she takes her hat off and just, all this. Let me tell you something. When that slag and all that stuff hits off and lights her hair on fire, she'll think twice about just wearing nothing underneath that helmet. That's just not good welding safety, okay? And Nick, the supervisor, should have gone over there and be like, honey, you need to put something on, that's why we wear do-rags and other stuff and, all this, because that stuff comes off. It's a little bit hot, wee bit hot, okay? So there's that. But it is funny, the things that I took away from this movie that are just standout 80s is they used the word honky. I thought that was kind of cool. Breakdancing. Like, they're walking down the street at one point and, like, people just start breakdancing and all this crap. And they're just like, I guess people just, and I grew up in the 80s, and I don't remember any of this happening. I remember breakdancing, Boogaloo, Breakaloo, Boogaloo 2, and all those stupid things you could rent at the VHS stores and all this. Breaking, Boogaloo 2, something like, I don't know what it was, but anyway. But I never ran anybody that was like carrying like a big thing of cardboard, like, yo, my mom just bought a washer and dryer and I'm gonna go out and break dance on this new cardboard. And then they would just like break dance in the street and people would like gather around and be like, man, this is awesome. Like, this is stupid. This is ruining our decade, which is otherwise a pretty cool decade, But a lot of break dancing that went on apparently that maybe it just didn't happen because I didn't grow up in a big city. But yeah, so there's that. You got a lot of Nautilus equipment when they're at the gym, or they got those standalone machines, and everything is there's no free weights to be had in the 80s. You couldn't find a free weight. We locked them all up in 79, and then we released them in like about mid 93, something like that. So you got that, and the workout clothes, right? Women would put on their leotards, and then they'd put like I guess the leotards were the ones that were on the legs, and then the one that looked like a bathing suit that went over top of it was a different color. And then they have their headbands and their sweatbands, and then those like leg warmer. I mean, it must have taken you 30 minutes to get dressed to go to the dang gym. And then scarves. You ever notice how many scarves were worn in the 80s? Nobody wears scarves anymore. It's crazy, But you go back in the movies, find yourself some scarves. What am I writing here? Flash Dance. What a feeling. It is a good song, though. Not something I want to go out and listen to, per se. But it's a catchy tune, as it were. All right, so we got, by my count, 3 more. So we'll be right back. Hey, Giddy.